greatness is relative in terms of what people think greatness is. Legacy to me might not be legacy to someone else. I feel like I've always had a fine line between a certain life and another life. You know, in this life, if you don't, I don't want to say fulfill your purpose, but if you don't strive to fulfill it, you're gonna feel a certain type of way. It's not only my responsibility to tell my story, but some people that I'm with are not able to tell their story. So if there's a way of me kind of shedding light on what they're going through and to help them with what they're enduring, then that's what I'm gonna do.
Nino SLG. I think that the reason that I'm so excited about this conversation is, for me, I feel like on the platform we've had a lot of the artists who are dubbed or who I dubbed to be the next best thing touch this platform, and I think that you are maybe the last one that I want to talk to that I think is going to be a huge star in the future. So Mally falls within that category, obviously you, Muggs, Prof and some other people. So I think it's really special to have you here today, and again, like, it's been a long time in the making. So for people that don't know, this conversation could have happened a long time ago, but I think that now we as a platform are in a place to deliver it in the right way, and you are in a place mature wise that you're able to have these sorts of conversations. So thank you for coming on the platform first and foremost. And I guess for the very few people that might not know you, how would you describe you as a person?
Obviously my name is Nino SLG. I'm very thoughtful, I guess, reflective, always in a search of peace type of thing. So yeah, man, I'm just quite chill, I like to say. Always thinking, you know, and yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to obviously begin at the past, and I guess I ask this question quite often because normally when I sit with someone, I haven't met them before. So I want to understand you as a person. What do I need to get and understand about your past to get you as a person?
I think what you need to, I think it's the duality of my life kind of thing. Because like, I feel like I've always had a fine line between a certain life and another life. I've been like in the middle, you know what I mean? Because where I've grown up, the people that I've been around is very different to like when I go to school and I'm around different types of people kind of thing. So I feel like it's just that split is what I'd like for you to understand. Yeah.
How would you describe each side of the split?
It's very, it's on the opposite side of each other. Like it's a range of things that would be like, rah, he's in this, but he's in this at the same time. It's a bit mad. And it's been like that for a while as well. It's only now that things are starting to show like it's going to one side kind of thing. But yeah, that's how it's been really.
You said within your first answer, like, you're someone that constantly strives for peace and you look for peace. Often, not always, but often, the things that we lack are the things that we look for. So I guess this is a bit of an assumption, but your answer leads me to believe that maybe you weren't always at peace. So how would you describe that?
Yeah, I think that's true, because life has been quite chaotic in terms of me going from, you know, from a long time, school to college and whatever. And when other people around you are living chaotic lives as well, it kind of, you know, transfers to you as well in some type of way.
So I can understand when you saying a chaotic life, like, what are you referring to?
I mean, in terms of just like, because obviously I'm from a place where people are doing certain types of things and you're trying to stay away from that. But, you know, sometimes it kind of impulses onto you.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? What you surround yourself with sometimes is what you become, or you can.
Yeah. But I've done a good job in kind of, you know, staying away from that, because obviously I have 2 younger siblings, so I'm trying to be a good influence to them. But even in terms of chaoticness, in terms of just being mad busy, like just trying to do everything at once, you can't really like handle it. Especially at my age, people are kind of, I'm not trying to say like I'm on some other level, but they're kind of chill. You know what I mean? They just play their video games and that, same as me, but, you know, I'm trying to do things. So just have to progress quickly. Yeah.
You touch upon being the oldest sibling, and from like my research, you grew up in a 2-parent household, right? Heavily religious. So I wanted to understand a little bit about that. Like, how would you describe your childhood and your family life?
Yeah, obviously I've got older sisters as well, innit?
Okay.
But I'm like the oldest boy.
Okay.
So it's like I have to set an example for my younger brothers. My parents, they were kind of playing a lot of music when I was younger. I feel like that's where I got my musicality from, because my mum sings around the house a lot, innit? So like I feel like that's where I got it from. They didn't really push me to do music kind of thing ever. I kind of found out in my own way in school and whatever, outside of school and whatnot. But yeah, right now, I think my brother's kind of getting influenced by me as well. I see him trying to make beats sometimes. So that's how I know, like, the things that I do really does influence my brothers. So, yeah.
You talk about being a role model, and this is, like I said to you, this is one of the things that I really wanted to talk about. So I guess the weight on your shoulders is huge. So you want to be a role model to your siblings. You want to protect and provide for your parents. You want to, I think you referenced within one of your songs, you want to bring your boys with you as well. So it's like all of these things are great and it can spur you on, it can give you motivation, but at the same time, it's a huge strain. So I wondered how you deal with that strain, especially at such a young age.
I mean, you just have to find ways to keep yourself motivated, to be fair. Whatever that is. As long as you have purpose, I feel like you'll never really kind of lose that motivation. Obviously, you have your ups and downs here and there, but if you just keep remembering your purpose, you'll find a way to stay motivated. And that's how things progress.
Yeah. You say you have your ups and downs. How bad have the downs got?
They've gone pretty bad. They've gone pretty bad, not gonna lie. But as long as you find a way to kind of come up off of that, you know, because once you reach a certain point, it's like you don't want to be there again. So you kind of avoid it. And it puts you into good habits, I think, in my experience anyway. When you reach a certain point, you just don't want to be there again. Just keep avoiding it.
Yeah. Because you say, like, find a way out. What was your, like, method? How did you find a way out of that mindset?
Music and living. You just have to live. You just have to be in the moment. Because there's a lot of times where, like, I'm just there, but I'm not really there, kind of thing.
How would you describe that feeling to someone that's like there but not really there? Like, I don't know. Like, how would you describe that feeling?
It's just like being in your mind all the time, like being in your mind in a negative way. And I wasn't really feeling it. And it's just like, when people are talking to you, try to be more social, kind of thing, and, you know, just be more present. Because people do notice when it's like you're acting a bit, you know, weird sometimes, and you don't really want your family and your friends to kind of catch that negative vibe from you. Yeah. You kind of have to change your ways.
Yeah. 100% agree. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Battersea.
How would you describe the area?
Battersea, I mean, it's a mix. It's a mix because you have like people that do what they do, and then you have the people that just go out, play football, and, you know, you kind of, I don't want to say, not looking up to them, but you see them, like you see them, and kind of changes the way you see things, your perspective of like how your environment should be and whatnot. But it was a pretty chill area, to be fair. Like I'm chilling right now, still there, so, you know, nothing's changed.
How would you say, like, growing up in that area has molded you into the person that you are today?
It's just changed the way I've seen everything.
In what sense?
Like, I mean, in terms of human characteristics, how greedy some people could be, or how generous some people could be, but you know, or how it can make the environment that people are in can make people lose sight of what they really want. I've seen that, and that's why even like my song "London State of Mind," it's just I wrote that basically looking out my window because I have a nice view of London. So it's just like little things like that have just really molded my view of how things should be.
That's one of my favourite songs of yours, by the way.
I appreciate it, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it, really.
It's interesting. That song specifically, like, what was your thought process going into that song, and like, how would you hope the listener receives it when they're listening to that?
I can't, like, when I wrote it, I think it was probably a greyish kind of day. You know what I mean? Everything was kind of dry. And when I want people to listen to it, I want people to see my past experiences and experiences that have happened within my environment as well. Because I feel like it's not only my responsibility to tell my story, but some people that I'm with are not able to tell their story. So if there's a way of me kind of shedding light on what they're going through and to help them with what they're enduring, then that's what I'm going to do. So when people listen to London State of Mind, I just want them to see what we're all experiencing. Because there's little things that I feel are very relatable to everyone. Or just a certain, environment. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because the conversation that I was having just before you came in, Matt was saying, like, I may put something in my song, like, I don't know, my friend getting killed, for sake of example. You might not be able to relate to that, but you can relate to the pain, you can relate to the loss, you can relate to the depression, you can relate to the anxiety. So I think essentially, if I've understood you right, what you're saying is people might not be able to relate to the exact thing you're talking about, but they can relate to the emotions as a result.
Yeah.
How accurate is that?
Quite accurate, very accurate, to be fair. That's what I think. So yeah.
How accurate would it be to say that rap is a form of therapy for you?
Very accurate. Very, very, very accurate. I feel like that's kind of developed over time, because it used to be kind of a fun thing. Life was fun, you know what I mean? But responsibilities hit you and different things hit you. And it's like you just have to use music and rap as an outlet to how you feel. And that's what it's become. Yeah.
How has your relationship with music changed from when it was you in the youth club or making that first album at school to now, where, if we're honest with each other, you're in a space where it is a business as well? So how has your relationship, like love for music, changed from those two circumstances?
I feel like my love for music has grown stronger, because now it's like, since I've got more pressure on not pressure, but more things to talk about, more things that I've been through. It's like every time I rap, it's like it has a lot of meaning, kind of thing, to me anyway. Every time I say something, it just possesses some purpose. But back in the day, it used to be fun. I used to be going to the youth club, like with Bell, my friends, just chilling. And I'm happy that I had that stage, because it was kind of like honing my craft for me to be able to like express myself now. So my relationship with music has definitely developed for the better. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Kind of the reason that I wanted to ask is because I feel like sometimes when something goes from like a hobby to something that you have to do to provide, the relationship can sour, in my opinion. But it's great that it's had the opposite effect for you. You said within that answer, you said something along the lines of like, my music has a lot of meaning. I completely agree with you. And I think that in an industry that is filled with TikTok sheep, you're someone that stands out and someone that delivers a real message. But at the same time, it's not easy to do that when everyone's sample this, sample that. Yeah. So I guess I want to understand from your perspective, like, what is the thought process behind delivering the rawest, purest form of you as opposed to following a trend?
I mean, that's what it just comes to purpose again. I know my purpose. It's like helping people with the music kind of thing. It's about being original, staying creative. Although everyone's creative, but creative in your own way. Yeah. And yeah, as long as you're able to maintain that originality, you're good. As long as you know what you want, it's all fine. Everything's just kind of a trend, As long as the originality that you have will surpass the trend, whatever that is, you're good to go.
How much further, or quote unquote further, more popular do you think you would be if you were like, screw it, let's just jump on a trend and let's release this for the masses?
I'll probably be, speaking analytically, I'll probably be a bit more bigger, but it's all good. Yeah. That's not what we're gunning for right now. We're aiming for steady progress and not just to shoot off. So I feel like the way I'm going anyway is good. Yeah.
I wanted to obviously ask you about the upcoming EP. How would you summarise it to me? So sell it to me.
The upcoming EP is about duality, like yin and yang, light and dark. Reflecting, looking in the mirror and analysing what you see, whether that be the dark emotions that you feel at times or the happy emotions when you're reflecting on the past. you know, in like What's Left. It's quite nostalgic, me kind of reflecting in the first verse. And yeah, it's just about mirror. Just look in the mirror, tell me what you see. Everything. Leaving no parts out.
You talk about the light and dark, the yin and yang. Do you think it's possible to have happiness without the dark side?
Nah. It probably... Nah, I don't, because I feel like the dark side is what brings out the happiness at times. Because if you don't go to the lowest of lows, how are you going to know what it feels like to come out of that? I feel like for you to experience such happiness, you need to experience everything, the whole human package. And then you'll learn how certain things feel, what you want to avoid. That's what it just means to be human. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Happiness, I think, is like, it's quite a subjective term, isn't it? Because everyone feels happiness in different ways. My version of happiness might not be yours. So how would you paint a picture of your version of happiness?
Firstly, I just want to say, like, with happiness, I feel like some people make happiness a goal, but I think it's just something that you just feel in the process of doing things. It's not something that you strive for. But I mean, happiness to me is just like, just feeling at peace with most things, everything, to be honest. Being grateful that everything in your life is going well, you know, family good, friends good, in your eyes anyway. Yeah, that's what happiness is.
It's interesting you saying like about a goal, and I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people would be like, look, my goal is to be happy in the future. But I guess what you're saying is that happiness is not a destination. Happiness is being present, as you said, and I guess being okay with the fact that some things are going to be great, some things are not going to be great, and that sense of contentment can breed happiness.
Yeah, because happiness shouldn't be the destination in my eyes. As I said before, it's what you feel. You just need to live life. Just live life and analyze how you feel as you're going through it, whether that be happy, sad, whatever. That's how you learn how to feel. And you just keep going through life with that mentality, in my opinion anyway. Yeah.
I agree. I talked a little bit about like the pressure of you having so much on your shoulders earlier, but one thing that I didn't reference is like the pressure of being the next star and things like that. And I wanted to ask you, so do you remember the picture of Dave and Stormzy when Dave went to a Stormzy signing?
Yeah.
That picture. And when I saw the picture of you next to Stormzy and then the signing of the vinyl, I immediately thought of that Dave photo. And I can see some similarities there in the sense that who knows, in 5 years' time, you might be the Dave, who knows? So that's great. That's amazing. And I'm sure within that moment you felt on top of the world. But at the same time, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, I guess, expectation. So how do you manage that?
I mean, it's just about, firstly, because I'm content with what I have now and how things are going. It's just about trying to alleviate as much pressure as I can on myself. I'm still quite young, still want to have my fun and whatever. But yeah, in that moment, it's good for me to see what, you know, greatness is like. So I can kind of strive to be like that as well. I do understand the similarities that you see in our journey, kind of thing. But I feel like I'm trying to go on my own path. I feel like with this EP, hopefully it will, you know, kind of set my own lane in a way. So yeah, I think that's all.
How did it feel reading that message? I think I'm just visualising in my head, and it said, P.S. you raised the star.
Oh yeah. No, I was gassed, like I was gassed, and because obviously, yeah, I gave it to my parents. They were gassed. Like I haven't seen my dad like this in a while. Like he was ecstatic. It was mad still. But yeah, I feel like they felt quite proud in that moment.
And rightly so.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. They felt very proud, like for Stormzy to say, "Oh, you raised the star." My dad's quite a big fan as well. So you know, it was a mad moment. Proper proud of that one still. Yeah.
How much motivation does moments like that give you to be like, it's almost like a taste, isn't it? It's like, this is what I could have. Yeah,
plenty motivation, like just so it helps you to be the best that you can be. It's just that little kind of push to show that people see what you could be. You don't want to be that person that had bare potential and then just dropped off in terms of how much effort you put, into the game. That's not what I want to be anyway. So just got to keep pushing. Yeah.
How much do you work? And the reason I wanted to ask you is because you said earlier, like your friends are just a bit more relaxed. They're playing the PS5, whatever they're doing. But at the same time, you also went on to say, like, you are still young. You still want to have fun. And again, rightly so. But how do you manage that work-life balance, especially being in your position as like such a youthful musician?
Throughout 2022, I'm not going to lie, my work rate wasn't mad. Like, it wasn't anything really. I was still putting in occasional work, but, I feel like as of recent, I've kind of stepped up a bit. Trying to put in more practice into my instruments. Trying to manage time a bit better here and there, because I feel like right now I'm not really great at balancing time, but trying to find my way around it. So yeah, I put in a good amount of work right now. Obviously there's space to improve, but from what I'm doing anyway right now, I feel like it's getting there. It's getting there. Yeah.
You spoke about motivation earlier, and like we said about that moment and that message from Stormzy, but like what else outside of that moment motivates you? Well, there's like stories. My mum's told me a story about someone coming up to her and being like, someone in your family is going to do big things, so be prepared. And she told me this, and I was like, oh, raw. Could be me, maybe. Because I have 2 young brothers in it, so they could be great as well. But I was like, oh, okay, interesting. And, just feeling blessed in the moment right now. You know what I mean? I just feel like things will progress and it'll get to a stage where I'm content, I'm happy. Yeah. You spoke about like feeling blessed, and I wanted to ask you, I touched upon your family earlier, but how much of a pillar is like faith within your career?
Big pillar. I feel like I'm really, in terms of the whole human experience, I'm kind of developing a bit more. I've started to kick into my faith a bit more. Trying to pray more, going to church more. And with my family, they're very religious as well. So it's like, that's always been a factor in how you should live your life kind of thing. So we're always praying. My mum prays for me a lot. My father prays for me a lot. I've got people in Africa praying for me, so it's like, I just feel very blessed. And I feel like I'm receiving the blessings right now from God as well. There's a lot of things have come into play that are like, wow, this is great. Yeah.
Mirror Story. What lyric stands out to you from that project, and why?
Over time. Maybe it's like, like mummy working overtime while I'm shooting for no stopping, can't imagine. You don't know how I felt. I'm like having a fine line between 2 different lives. Could be going straight to heaven or the depths of a hell. I feel like that's actually a good depiction of my whole situation, of the whole EP. Because it's like heaven and hell, that's the faith aspect that we were just talking about. Me trying to kick into faith while still being tempted by, worldly things, I guess. And then, having a fine line between 2 different lives. As I said, the duality of like me being in this life and another life, what could happen, what's in between. And yeah, obviously it was kind of like, mummy working overtime. My mum works really hard. And that's the depiction of pressure on me to kind of change the family situation. Although we're fine right now, but, yeah.
It's deep. How do you feel about like voicing that now? And the reason I ask is because earlier a bit similar. So I was saying like, often when I speak to artists, they're very, very open, vulnerable in the lyrics that they release within their songs. It's almost like a letter. They write it and they release it, and then ultimately it's out in the universe for everyone to hear. But at the same time, what I find is like some of the artists that write the rawest lyrics ever, when it comes to having a conversation with someone across a table, across a space, they find it tough to elaborate on those lyrics or to think about it in the moment and to communicate it in person. So how do you feel about that? Like, how open are you and how easy do you find it to communicate in person?
I feel like it's very easy because all I have to do is just kick into or remember the emotions that I was feeling whilst writing those lyrics. Because it's all my lyrics are quite sincere. So it's just about remembering how I felt and just describing that to you so you understand it, which is not a hard job if everything's genuine. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You say if everything's genuine?
Because obviously I'm not just speaking about myself, but other people do the same thing. So, yeah.
It's interesting. About the future. When I say future, actually, what do you think of? What pops into your mind?
The next how many years? It just depends. Could be 5, 10, 20. I mean, long term, future, short term. Just means whatever, really.
What do you want to accomplish?
That's a vast question. I mean, everything there is to accomplish. I want to be as great as it can get in regards to everything my whole life. Never want to waste an ounce of potential because you just live in regret when you don't do certain things. I've seen that with other people as well. So it's like, just strive to be the best that you can. Yeah.
When you say you've seen that in other people, like, what sorts of things are you talking about, and what have you learned from seeing that?
Just in terms of people, they want to they want to be a footballer and they get dragged away by another type of life. And they look back and they're like, oh, if I just stayed and just focused. And I look at them and I see how they feel and it's like, oh, bro, I don't want to feel like that. So it's just about me staying in my path, staying extremely focused. And it's just about, because in this life, if you don't, I don't want to say fulfill your purpose, but if you don't strive to fulfill it, you're going to feel a certain type of way forever, for the rest of your life. It's like that voice in your head. You just, no matter how much you try to suppress it, it won't really ever go away. And that's not how I want to feel for the rest of my life. So it's like, just have to keep going. Yeah.
In terms of musically, what are like some of the goals that, like, if you had a vision board right now, if we put an imaginary vision board here right now, what are some of the things that are pinned up on that vision board?
Well, I mean, the other day I think it was on Discord, someone was saying like, oh, we pray Nino can headline Glastonbury someday. Why not? I'd love to do that. That's that's a madness. That's a goal, you got the Brits, whatever, win it. I feel like, just different things. Obviously, I can't think of it in the moment, but on a grand scale, we're aiming to be as great as we can get. Yeah. Whatever that is, so yeah.
100%. Well, I think the sky's the limit, essentially, for you. So why not headline Glastonbury? Why not win Brits? I think it will happen. So 100%. And I think it's one of those things, some people are like, have smaller goals, when you hit them you feel better and stuff like that, but ultimately if you don't tell yourself that you're going to win a Brit, you're not going to win a Brit. If you don't tell yourself you're going to headline Glastonbury, you're not going to do it. At the end of the day, what you speak is what you begin to believe, and then that's what you'll start acting on, and then it will happen. So I think that's the biggest thing. So that's really interesting actually. And how do you feel about that kind of section on future?
It excites me. Yeah, it keeps me going, man. Because with some people, it might, make them feel stressed out that they have to achieve everything that they're gunning for me. I just want to take my time, and the things will come. The things will come as long as you maintain and keep, striving for steady progress. That's what I like to talk about. Steady progress. You'll get there. I like talking about the future because I feel like it holds many things.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You say steady progress, and actually it's interesting. I was gonna ask you about this. Like, when do you think it's like, right, let's drop an album? Like, what does your projection look like into the future, like musically? So it's EP.
I don't think it's an album thing anytime soon, really. I feel like I have the ability to create an album right now, but obviously I don't really want to because we're not in that kind of situation right now. I feel like a few more steps, maybe another EP, a tape, certain things might happen around that time, and then it's like, okay, cool, let's start striving for an album now. Because, yeah, I feel like the first album is going to be like a pillar in my career, so it's very important. Kind of get it right. Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 17.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
How often are people like taken aback a little bit by not just how great you are musically, but as a person, your maturity at your age?
Yeah, people always tell me, they're like, oh, you got an old soul. I'm always like, okay, like...
I think old soul is a little bit of a negative thing to say. I would say mature soul is a better way to put it.
Well, it's always that kind of thing. They're like, oh, when you speak to me, it's like, okay, that's what you're on. Well, I just feel like, yeah, man, as you go through life, you're going to learn. So I'm still bare young. There's still bears to learn, but it's like, with what I've learned, I'm able to depict it for other people so they can, know what to feel and whatnot.
Because I would say maturity, and this is just my opinion, but I would say maturity comes from experience.
Exactly,
So what I would say is that you have the air of someone that's experienced a lot in a relatively short period of time. How accurate would you say that is?
I agree so much. I feel like I've experienced a lot. I'm still quite young, but I feel like I've actually experienced a lot of emotions, just general experiences. I've seen other people's experiences, all of that. I just feel like I'm able to depict things very well. Yeah.
How would you compare how much or what you've experienced to some of your peers around the same age?
That's what I thank God. Because I feel like music, I kind of started it young. And when I look back now, it's like I could have gone this way, but I chose the music route. But I've seen with other people, when we're around the same age, they might have been pursuing something, and now it's like they're just, you know what I mean? It's a sad reality, but you live and you learn, really. So yeah.
How young were you when you first? So I was doing a bit of reading on you, obviously, and it was saying, like I mentioned earlier, so like a combination of doing the album at school and then the youth clubs and stuff like that. How young were you when you first decided, like, all right, let's write something?
I was 14, I think 14, 15 probably, around 14, I think, something like that. But obviously I started playing piano at the start of secondary, it's around 11. So I was always into music, always, but when he asked me to start doing the album and that, it's just like, okay, man's doing the album. You man come through, just spitting bare bars, and it's just like, just developed me into being able to say things a certain way that will appeal to people. Yeah.
You say about piano and stuff like that, and I think that that's another thing which adds another level of uniqueness to you as an artist. And I want to ask you about that, and like, how important is it for you to be remembered as a musician as opposed to a rapper?
I think it's so important. I feel like that's, I don't want to say distinguishing quality, but it's a certain thing that like I need people to see. Like, I play instruments because it kind of differentiates me from other people. So yeah, I've just been practicing my guitar, piano, and hopefully it gets to a place where I'm able to amaze people with it. As much as the actual music, you know what I mean? Just that alone. Just want to develop into a complete artist. Musically, everything. I feel like in due time that will come.
How many of your tracks that have been released to date have you had a part to play in the production?
Ooh. Even with the one that just came out, what was it? What's Left? Like, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago? I found this, it's a sample, I found it time ago. I was just doing my research, found it. And I done the 808s in the second part. So it's like co-produced. I do a lot of piano things, Prison Walls, done the piano, House Invasions. So yeah, but I feel like in the future, I'm definitely going to start producing my own stuff. Just trying to get to a point where I can do everything myself, So yeah, that will come.
Sick, unreal. Just to finalise, I wanted to ask you just a little bit about legacy, but I mean, before kind of I asked that all-important question, how important is it's like having a legacy to you?
I mean, I don't know, like, obviously I'm striving for greatness, but like, greatness is relative in terms of what people think greatness is. Legacy to me might not be legacy to someone else. So as long as I try to be as great as I can be, that's what it is. Because, I mean, legacy, it's not a mad thing to me right now. as long as I'm in a good position in every aspect of my life, it's just whatever. Like it's just I don't know if I answered that correctly, but
No,
Yeah,
100%. There's no correct or wrong answer to the question because it's about you. So 100% spot on. Last thing I wanted to ask you, and I think that this is like a great way of understanding a person. So I've met you for the first time today. I go away and I talk to someone. I say I met Nino earlier. How would you want me to describe you to them?
chill. Because I like it when people like, if they say, oh yeah, he's chill, like he's just mad cool. You know what I mean? We're talking, we're conversating. He's just a cool guy. Like, you know, we're talking about what's real. And yeah, man, I just love you to, like if you just say, he's a cool guy. Like he's just chill, saying whatever. Yeah, that's about it really.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Well, from my perspective, I want to say thank you for coming, for sitting with me. Like I said at the beginning, it does feel like it's been a long time coming, but I think the most important thing for me anyway is that it feels right now. So yeah, it's been amazing to sit with you within your presence and to feel that. How have you found it?
No, I'm very happy because it has been a long time coming. And like, I feel like if we'd done it back then, I would have had as much things to say. So I'm very glad. I feel like it's the right time. Did it at the right moment. So yeah, thank you for having me as well.
Not at all, bro. Thank you.
Pleasure, yeah.
But I appreciate it.
Sweet, man. Cool. Appreciate it, bro.
Nice one, bro.
Thank you, man. Yeah.